For many years, I've been practicing and studying what they call divination. Divination is actually various ways of figuring out through a person's name or birthday or planets or numbers. And actually, astronumerology is almost like painting by numbers. We're doing astrology through numbers, but through these various things in palmistry, to come up with a method to find out when people's lives are going to change. And that's really my specialty. And when I tell people that I teach divination, they look at me like, what is that? That's predicting when and what will happen to people and with whom might be involved in these things. When I was in my early 30s, by then I had taken these numerology studies and palmistry studies and worked with Thelma Van Worth and joined groups and so forth and so on. And I was still hooked up to the family that raised me, and there were a bunch of characters. One was actually worse than the other. They were very self-serving, and the psychic field actually helped me to detach from them. And I learned the art of detachment, that when somebody's not nice or not pleasant, you kind of get away from them. It's kind of like you don't keep sticking your finger on a match and keep getting burned. That somewhere along the line, you got to go somewhere and cool off. Well, I started teaching divination. I went through these various studies, and I started doing a lot of people with the public. And to this day, I still teach classes at a local college, Rowan College, on divination. And I'm the only one that I know to actually specializes in event predictive analysis. That means when something is going to change in somebody's life and with what persons and circumstances are going to take place, and even if the person doesn't know it. The only glitch to this, and I did a tape on this before in this series, is that people don't really understand when things start. Things actually start. A change starts to occur when people make a plan, make a decision, or have a conversation which starts the ball rolling, even if it's down in the future, for something to occur in the future. And I use the example of somebody picking up a stone and throwing it across a lake and it bounces. And I would say, well, when did the action start? And people would say, when you threw the stone, or when the stone got released. No, it's when you decided to pick up the stone. Even before it ever entered your hand, that was the beginning of that change. It's one thing I try to explain to people. This is when the change starts. And in the predictions, that's encased in this. It's like the cusp of 1 month actually being the start of the next sign. It usually occurs somewhere around the 18th to 21st of the previous month. The sign of Leo will start at the end of July. This sign of Pisces will actually start at the end of February, etc. And then it goes into full bloom. But the beginning of change is when something begins and a plan is formed that causes something to happen in the future. And that's the nature of divination. And I teach divination in many different ways. I do the abracadabra with the name, which brings it into an inverted triangle. I do the pinnacles and challenges and what planets and numbers and initials and letters of people who are involved in these changes. I do the compatibility of people by comparing the both days of the month that they're both born, as well as what years they're born, which is the elements. And I combine all of these and reading the lines of the hand and doing regular card reading. I've done tarot in the past, but I prefer to teach regular card reading because it's a lot more to the point and direct. But in any event, I teach event predictive analysis. That is my specialty.